42.2.
And rolling.
42.3.
Before we start, Rick, can we just briefly talk about the midterms coming up?
All right. So we're less than 9 months away from the midterm elections, and there's the idea that the Democrats are going to flip the House and might even flip the Senate, and that idea even has its own Twitter emoji. It's a little blue wave. So where everybody who's a conservative, a Trump-loving conservative on Twitter, uses the American flag emoji, and so do a lot of liberals, but the liberals now often have the blue wave emoji in their Twitter handles. And I think they will flip the House, and the Senate might be tougher, but it depends. Like if conservatives keep embarrassing themselves for the next 9 months, then they have a shot. And if also depends on the economy. Like it was going up, and then stock market hiccuped, and if the economy stumbles, then that helps the Democrats too.
I have a theory, and my theory is that the Democrats for the past couple of elections have not been able to win. They can't get white men or married white women to vote for them. So the Democrats have figured out that the only chance they have is to somehow turn all the other races and genders against white people and on their side, so that they can cause a kind of a civil strife and win the election by a coalition of aggrieved minorities. That's their strategy, in my opinion, and I think that's the reason that they're not dealing with Trump on DACA, because they can't compromise now. They have to be the party that wants total open borders and as many illegal aliens in the country as possible. Otherwise, they imagine that they're betraying their Hispanic base. And so...
Well, I think that's an exaggeration.
Well, can you tell me why they don't just say, okay, let's build a wall?
What's his face? Schiff. This is like hour 13 I've been standing here, but like...
He's from Burbank, by the way.
What's Schiff's name again?
Adam Schiff.
Adam. He agreed to the wall in return for getting the DACAs in.
Well, why does it have to be in agreement with in return for anything? If they care about the country, why don't they just stop illegal immigration by building a wall?
Well, because liberals think the wall is kind of a goofy idea. I mean, illegal immigration is already down by like 50% anyway.
Because of Trump, not because of the Democrats.
Yeah, but okay, so it's because of Trump, but like...
So we have to wait we can only elect Republicans because as soon as a Democrat gets in, it'll go back up again? That's what the wall would stop.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I'm vulnerable. I've been standing here
You think that the Democrats care about America.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, they want as many illegal aliens in this country as possible to be made into voters so that they can retain power, so they can get power.
I know that's what you believe.
I know, but what proved me wrong? If not, they would just say, well, okay, I think a wall would cut down some of the recidivism, let's do it.
But if current practices and current trends have knocked down illegal immigration by a huge amount, why throw another... Anyway, but Schiff agreed to the wall in return, but
well,
then...
by the way, so did Clinton and Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. They were both for the wall 10 years ago.
All right, fine, build the wall, but figure out the DACAs.
Well, the point is that the Democrats can't back down now. They are committed.
Yeah, they can.
Their goal
Well,
is
right,
to
Trump
drive
just
a
didn't
wedge
Trump just tweet
between
that-
the American
hold on,
people.
hold on. Trump just tweeted something similar to what you're saying. Is why do the Democrats suddenly not care about DACA? And
Because they're
it
going to
wouldn't-
use it. They're
I'll
going to
t-
use it.
No,
for
I'll
the
tell you why. I'll
2018
tell you why.
election.
I'll tell you why. Because
Good.
so much crazy crap happens every day now that the last time they talked about DACA was maybe like, I don't know, a week ago. And in that week, it seems like a month or 6 weeks because 2 or 3 crazy things happen every day, and everything just gets buried under the avalanche of political weirdness. And the Democrats are perfectly concerned about DACA. It's just that the country's been distracted by the 20 other things that have happened since a week ago when we last discussed DACA. DACA will be totally discussed again this week if we're not completely distracted by whatever happens with Flynn and Manafort. It's not like they dropped the ball, it's just that I've got a pinball machine at home that if you do a certain thing, it will release 5 balls at a time. And, if one of those balls is DACA, you're going to lose track of it.
No. What the Democrats want is they want to legalize all illegal aliens. And if they could do that, if they could get them to vote, 90% of them would vote Democrat. There'd never be another Republican in office again. And the Democrats could realize their dream of making America socialist.
If wishes were
So-
horses, beggars would ride. Is that the saying?
Okay,
You're looking into the hearts of liberals and saying, they want this, but in political reality, that's never going to happen.
That's what you want.
What, to make 11 million illegals legal?
Yeah.
I haven't thought about it. It's not going to
Think about
happen.
it now. Right now, tell me what you want.
I don't know. I would frickin' do triage on them and figure out, who deserves to stay, who deserves to go back home and get in line, and I don't know. I'd sort them out if there was any sorting possible. If there were any sorting possible.
How many millions would you be willing to accept?
We had this argument before,
And you couldn't answer that.
Trump's number of, didn't he make an offer of 1.8 million?
He did.
I'm okay with that number. I'm okay with the Trump number.
Okay, why is it that the Democrats can't just say, okay?
I don't know. Let's see if negotiation starts up again.
Why does there have to be a negotiation? He's offering them to almost 2 million people. Why?
Because
Because
he's got these other conditions. The no chain migration, which means no family migration.
Well, we're not talking about family. They can bring over their wife and their young children. What's wrong with that?
I think all this is all this seems kind of negotiable.
It's negotiable.
Aren't
if
you pissed
want.
at Trump for doing this? For doing some of this? You said Trump is kind of.
He's bending over backwards.
And,
what?
and
He
you're
won't
no,
let-
no,
Dude,
hold on. But aren't you a little annoyed at that?
I think he shouldn't compromise. He's compromising everywhere for these people.
Okay, so it seems like compromise is possible. I think maybe compromise is possible.
Well, then why don't the Democrats just agree? He's giving them everything they want.
They're going to negotiate some.
Negotiate what?
I don't know. They have 4 points to argue about.
Yeah.
So
do you want someone to be able to bring in 23 relatives? Because that's what the last bomber did. The last guy brought in, I forget where he was from, Sudan or Somalia. He brought in 23 people with him.
all right, so I'm not okay with that. I'll give you
So
that.
on that one, you're with Trump.
No,
Okay,
not
that's
entirely.
Point number one,
No.
you don't need to go to negotiate that. You're okay with bringing over a wife and young children.
No, hold on. If somebody makes an offer of compromise, if you're buying a car and you're at the dealership and the dealer says that car's 28 grand and you say, we only have 24 grand. And they come down to 27. Aren't you going to make a counter offer? It's not like, oh, you're compromising. Yeah, okay, 27 grand. No, but just so much is going on in Washington that
Listen, I understand that you've said that, but it's just you and me here right now. Is it okay with you if it's just the wife and young children along with the one person? Is that okay? Or the husband and young children? Is that okay with you?
I don't know what the
Well,
details. I don't know what
chain migration brings in whole villages. There are people. There are Somalians moving to Minnesota where they're bringing in their cousins, their aunts, their uncles, 20, 30 people. Do you want that, Rick?
I'm okay with limiting it.
To the wife, to the spouse, and a young child. That's what Trump is offering. Is that crazy?
It's not crazy, but it's also
Pelosi said it was white supremacy.
I don't know. This is, like I said, this is hour 13 of me standing here.
Well, then why not just agree with me?
No, hold on, because I have to hold up my end, and it might be something that there are general guidelines, and then there are certain things on a case-by-case basis.
That you should be able to bring in 23 people.
No, not 23, but say that there's a family in frickin', where's the one where everybody the gangs just run everything?
What if there are 10 people in the family? Do we get to bring 10 people in because we're allowing one guy?
No, but say
maybe he can't do it.
But maybe a guy gets in and you're allowing the wife and the kids.
Young kids, but maybe the guy has like a 77-year-old mom. Well, maybe he better stay in the Sudan and take care of her. This is the kind of common sense thing that you have to deal with. You have to make a limit.
What's common sense is that the average time from the time a person applies to come over here and the time they get let in is 2 years. In 2 years, there's plenty of time for some case-by-case flexibility. Not 23 people, but...
So not 23 people. How many people, Rick?
I don't know. I'm not an expert on this
stuff.
Well,
what is wrong with Trump just saying, look, you can bring your spouse and your young children? Why is that so bad? Why not just agree to that?
Well, why not negotiate about that?
What? Because is the Democrat Party on the side of America or the people of the world that want to come here? Who would pick a side, Rick?
Well, it doesn't. That's not. You're making. America's made up of people who were.
No, America's made up of the people we have right now. Our representatives are not representatives of the world. They're supposed to advocate for my people, my country, American citizens. And American citizens don't need anybody.
Well, you don't want to...
We'd be fine without anyone.
Right, you don't want to let anybody in.
No, but I'm just saying that other than 6 doctors and one physicist, we probably don't need anybody from the Sudan or Somalia. So why
is that your way of saying the Sudan's a shithole country?
It is a shithole country.
And because of that, the people are all shitty?
We don't need people from that country, and the reason countries are shitholes is because the people in them are usually shittier than Americans.
So who's gonna
I believe in Americans. I believe Americans are better. I'm in favor of Americans.
So who's going to do the jobs Americans want to do? That's just
all right.
Right now.
No, that's a terrible attitude.
It's not a terrible attitude. I believe that my people, the American people, are the premier people in the world.
Why?
And I want.
What makes them?
Why?
I like America. I love America, but
no, not really. You think everyone in the world is equal or better to Americans, don't you?
No, but.
Then why do we need?
Why? But I believe that.
Hold on. Going to improve us?
I believe that even shithole countries have people of quality.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
All right.
Don't demagogue me.
But you were.
But I believe I am an advocate for Americans. I believe Americans are the best people. I think we have the best traditions, the best culture. And I want my representatives in Congress to advocate for Americans' jobs and Americans' positions and Americans' share of the American pie. I do not want my representatives to be fighting for Somalis and Sudanese. You do.
I'm in favor of taking the rest of the world and squeezing it like half a grapefruit, squeezing out the very best of the rest of the world and saying, hey, best of the rest of the world, come over here.
But that's not how it works out, Rick. We're accepting people that can't even speak their own language. We're getting people in from Pakistan that can't speak, I think it's Urdu, that can't read or write in their own
isn't
language.
one of Trump's 4 proposals to get like he's got 4, like one of them is getting rid of the random kind of the lottery. What do they call it?
Yeah, the lottery.
Yeah, so
the immigration lottery.
That seems negotiable.
It's not negotiable. Either you're for it or you're not.
Well, I'm saying that.
Why do you have to negotiate? Why don't you just say, you know what, sounds good to me?
Well, because it's part of negotiation,
Well, for what?
To get
more. More what? More immigrants.
Yeah, I mean that's my side is more.
Why does your side want more immigrants?
Because immigrants have historically and currently have historically been good for us and currently are good for us.
30% of the rapists and murderers in prisons in the southwest of the United States are illegal immigrants.
I know that, I forget why, but I know that is a BS statistic. I read an article about it, but I'm a sleepy boy right now, and I know that that's a garbage statistic.
So you think illegal immigrants are finer people than Americans?
I think that
they're less likely to commit crime.
Well, that's what but I.
Why do you think Americans are inferior to illegal immigrants?
I didn't say that.
Well, you just said that they commit less crime.
According to some studies.
There are no studies. The studies show that illegal immigrants commit massively more crime than Americans.
What studies?
The most recent ones. We can look it up if you need to.
I don't want to.
My point is this. Nothing that Trump proposed in his 4 points is unreasonable. The Democrats should just agree to it. There's nothing to negotiate. He's giving them fair proposal.
You ever bought a car at a car dealer?
No, let me finish because you keep interrupting me. Here are the 4 proposals. I will repeat them to clarify matters. 1, we build a wall. 2, we legalized 1.8 million illegals, which is going to turn into even more, but we'll say for argument's sake 1.8. 3, end the visa lottery. Just let in people that are most meritorious in the world, like you just said. And 4, end chain migration, which means
family migration.
Which means you're limited to bringing in your spouse and your young children. You cannot bring your cousins, your uncles, your grandparents, and their cousins, uncles, and grandparents.
Okay, so
now what about that needs to be negotiated?
Well, hold on.
Why can't the Democrats just say, sounds reasonable?
I'm probably
what
letting...
more do they want?
Wait, hold on. I'm probably letting down my side by saying that I'm sure there are reasons why those 4 points, certain aspects of those 4 points aren't reasonable, but I'm not well enough informed. But I will say that those 4 points seem like a reasonable basis for further negotiation.
Further negotiation. Further negotiation. Rick, you have the 2nd highest IQ in the world, or America, or this studio. You can use your common sense. Think it through, man. Just tell me. You've said it yourself. There's nothing unreasonable about those points.
But I know you know...
What is it that the Democrats' ulterior motive is? What devious, devilish plan do they have that is going to that they have to be against this? Why can't they just agree?
I'll tell you one thing.
Please.
If the Democrats rolled over and said, you know, President, again, I'm letting down my side with this argument, but if the Democrats said, you know, President Trump, all 4 things, that's reasonable, we're just going to say yes, then Trump gets to say, plus he'll say it anyway, I'm the greatest president in history. I just single-handedly solved immigration. The Democrats would be idiots to give him that rhetorical tool. You can't roll over.
Right.
No,
Are you serious?
well, that's,
Think it through.
you can't.
Was that a serious argument, or are you just making a joke?
No, I mean, you don't roll over at the car dealership.
So you're willing to vote for a party that puts politics over the good, over the interests of the American people?
I'm not doing that.
Well, that's what you're saying.
No,
you're
I'm not.
doing.
No, because in practical
Rather-
terms,
rather than-
in practical terms,
I see.
listen to me. Hold on.
Okay.
You take. I assume that DACA negotiations are going to proceed as they have been. It's not like they completely disappeared. It only seems like they disappeared because so much other crap, a mass murder, the Manafort stuff, all this
They're
stuff.
all adults, Rick. They can proceed on DACA. They're
So they
big
will.
boys. They can do it.
So it's not like they haven't. It's
Okay,
not like
so
so hold on.
why-
No,
why
let me
do they-
finish my point, which is the world's not going to end if DACA negotiation goes on for another 2 weeks or 2 months, and that each of those 4 points are kicked back and forth between the Democrats and the Republicans until some kind of compromise that lets each side claim victory, because that's what you do in a frickin' compromise negotiation. I assume that the DACA stuff will go on, and if we're lucky, they'll reach a compromise.
And what would the compromise be, Rick?
It would probably have a lot of the amended versions of the 4 aspects that
Do you want more illegals? Was 1.8 million not enough for you? Do you want more?
I said I just
5
said US.
million?
No, I just said I'm okay with 1.8.
So that's not negotiable for you.
Well,
That
I don't know.
wouldn't make any sense.
I'm not a fucking Democratic congressperson.
Well, but you see, the problem is, Rick, you've just agreed with Trump's 4 points.
I've
So
said
you're-
no,
so-
no. I
so-
said no,
so
no.
even
I
though-
haven't.
Even
I've
though
said
you've agreed with his 4 points, you're still saying that the Democrats are right not to accept them.
well. I've said 2 things. I said that those seem like 4 reasonable points for further negotiation.
And then-
And that the Democrats can't entirely roll over, that no party would entirely roll over and wholeheartedly welcome a proposal from the other party unless that proposal can be claimed by the party that's accepting the proposal as complete victory. That's just not
Rick,
politics.
Rick, that's sick.
It's not, it's frickin' politics.
Rick, you are okay. Here you see the brainwashing of the Democrat mind. Let me explain this to you. During World War II, we get attacked by the Japanese, and the Democrats, Roosevelt says, listen, we need to fight Japan. And the Republicans go, okay. Throughout the history of the United States, when something was in the interest and best welfare of the American people, both sides came together. They did not put politics first. You have bought into the idea that the Democrats have to oppose everything Trump does, that they have to be saboteurs
No.
in order to damage his presidency. And that, my friend, is the opposite of patriotism. Not only is it the opposite of patriotism, but it reveals the depth of your antipathy to the conservatives, which the conservatives don't give to you, don't
All right,
beat out
fine.
to Democrats.
Okay, fine. But the deal is, we've been trying to solve immigration for. Reagan had a deal that went partially through 30 years ago. More than 30 years ago. But for the past 20 years, the 2 parties have been trying to work out an immigration deal. And maybe we're close to a deal now. Now, because maybe Trump's proposals are reasonable, or are a reasonable basis for negotiation. And maybe they're so reasonable that a compromise can be reached. But I don't think they've been debated yet. And certainly the frickin' Congress and the House, I mean the Senate and the House, are going to discuss them and negotiate. And maybe it takes 2 weeks or 2 months, but if this brings an end to an issue, or at least a partial resolution to an issue that's been hashed over for 20 years, I think it's reasonable to take 2 weeks or 2 months to hash it over. I find it unlikely that one guy, completely politically inexperienced, and often a guy who changes the details of his stances on things like once a day or more, I doubt that guy has found the ideal recipe to solve this thing. So yeah, negotiate for a while. It doesn't have to be a long time. And it doesn't have to be, I don't know how far apart they...
But you don't even know what you're negotiating for, Rick.
Well,
I'm not an expert in immigration.
yeah.
I don't have the second highest IQ in America. It's obvious to me what needs to be done. The Democrats they just should say, yes, sounds like a deal. When Roosevelt had to declare war, the Republicans just said, okay.
You know why he had to declare war? Because 3,000 Americans were killed in a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor.
It was less than 2,000. The 3,000 were killed at 9/11.
9/11. But
So the coda to this argument, to this debate here, this is the coda, and this is for Rick first and then Lance.
okay.
Paint a picture of a day without an illegal immigrant. Let's say tomorrow there's no illegal immigrants here in Los Angeles. What would that day look like to you?
Well, for me personally,
Yeah, starting off. So just
so I don't know if
but say for the question.
all right, what would a day without illegal immigrants mean for me? Now, and I don't know their immigration status, but those people might be gone if it turns out that they're not fully, that they don't fully have the right to be in the country. Those people could be gone. People that we like, whose work we like, whom we like as people, who, I think who do a good job and are, you would think, are part of what, makes the American world of work good. I mean, the people who helped us raise our daughter were beautiful, great, loving, conscientious, competent people. And yeah, it would suck to do without those people.
Well, my response is this. I have some very close friends that are black people that were born in America, and it is a nightmare for them to get a job. I've lived it with them. I have taken them to the job interviews where they can't get hired because they don't speak Spanish. I've known a lot of poor people, working class people in this city, because I live among them, that have zero chance of getting any kind of job that is low skill. And it is entirely because the state of California brought in 3 million illegal aliens who've taken all the low skill jobs. So my concern has nothing to do with whether they're beautiful people or wonderful people. I don't care if they're Hispanic. I don't care if they're Swedish. My concern is for the blue-collar, low-skilled people that were born in this country, some of whom are Hispanic themselves, who can't get work. That is my concern.
All right, I gotta say that I have to redo what I said because I gave away too much information. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. So I'm just going to say, you know, we'll have to put this in a little bit. Like, for me, a day without, you know, illegal immigrants. We've had people we've worked with, my wife and I, for some people for many years, where I'm not fully aware of their immigration status. And these are people that have done the, well, people that we love. And it would suck for those people to disappear. And then we're going to have to take that other part out because it names too many specifics.
All right. Should we change topics now?
Ivanka
Shall we?
Trump
Well,
was our ambassador at the Olympics. What was the Twitter world like with Ivanka?
There's just, I mean,
Can you repeat the question?
yeah, you mentioned that Ivanka was our ambassador to the closing ceremonies of the Winter Olympics, and which is a weird thing because her husband, for instance, can't get and I don't think she can, neither of them can get a security clearance to work in the White House. In fact, the White House has the most serious problem with staffers who can't get security clearances in history. They hired a bunch of people who have who are sufficiently compromised that the FBI doesn't want to clear them, and it's a huge problem for the White House. It's the most amateurish White House in history.
It's just so petty. Can I just say that last comment is beneath contempt, and I'd like to have a different topic.
Okay,
Really,
let's break. I'm sore, and then we'll come
Okay,
back to a
all
different
right.
topic.